selection screen. What is selection screen? Is selection screen. Do any of you remember we had discussed parts of program, right? We had discussed parts of program. We saw first was input part, right? Second was processing logic, and third was output part. Output part. How does input works in a BAP? How does we take input? Till now we are manually storing data in our internal tables, but we have not taken any input from the user, right? My code should works in a manner that user is going to give certain input, and based on that we are going to perform all those operations. Is it?
Yes.
So how will I take input from the user? This is the question, how I am going to take input from the user. So see here, selection screen is also known as input screen. Okay, selection screen is also known as input screen. User is going to give or provide input from the selection screen to the program. Okay, selection screen to the program. And another important thing, always by default, every selection screen, doesn't matter which program you are writing, every selection screen or input screen will always have a screen number 1000. Screen number 1000. So if I'm writing a code, let me just get back and create another program. Selection, no, screen, let's say I'll go for create button. Understanding screen. So if I am just writing something, just focus on, kindly do not focus on that. I'm just showing you how does selection screen look like. This will open a selection screen. If I'll go for execute, see here, by default a screen is opening, and if you will go for system and status, just see the screen number 1000. Every selection screen have the same screen number, which is 1000. Now the question comes, how does input is taken from the user? How we will take input? Have the selection screen. Now how will I take input? So we have got two ways. We have two ways to take input from the user. We have got two ways. The first one is parameters, and the second one is select options. Parameters and select options. Okay, what is parameters? Parameters are used to take single input from the user. Parameters are used to take single input from the user. Okay, they are used to take single input from the user. Let's see how does parameter works. If I'll go back to my program, I have created a parameter, right? This is a parameter. Can you see parameter? How does it is defined? How does it is defined? Parameters keyword is used to define a parameter. Okay, is this clear?
Yes.
Now we
Mm-hmm.
have got a lot of different forms for our parameter. First one is we can provide a default value for our parameter using default keyword. Using default keyword, I can directly provide here a default value using default keyword. By default, this 101 is going to appear on the selection screen. If I'll go to my selection screen or input screen, can you see by default it is coming here? Whatever value you are going to pass in the default, it will come there by default. Then we have another property of it. We can make our parameter mandatory. Mandatory that it must be filled. Mandatory using obligatory keyword. Obligatory keyword. I can make it mandatory by using obligatory keyword. So here, if I will provide here, let's say obligatory, just see what is going to happen. Execute. Let's say I'm not passing any input and I'm clicking on execute button. Just see the error message. Make an entry in mandatory field P employee ID. Unless and until you are going to make an entry, you cannot perform anything here. By default, you will get this error if you do anything else. Obligatory. Used to make your parameter mandatory. Then third point, we can create radio buttons on the selection screen using parameters. So this is how we are going to create radio button. Let's remove obligatory and parameters. Let me just, I'm writing its name here as PR1 type C. Can anybody tell me what is the length of PR1 now? If I'm giving only type C, what is the length of PR1?
1.
1. Good. So radio button group. Then we are required to pass a group for all these radio buttons. Always we will have same group. Group name should be same here, because your system then it will not be able to understand. As the property of your radio button is only one can be selected, then that is why their group must be same. Their name can be different, but their group must be same. Otherwise their system will get confused that which one it should select. Type C radio button group R1. Any group you can give. Any group you can give. Now if we'll go for execute, just see here. We have got two different radio buttons. One we can select at a time. That is why their group must be same. Anyone. If you want, you can go give name here from text element. Go for selection text and let's say I'm giving your value employee ID and I'm giving here, let's say, radio button 1, and I'm giving its value as radio button 2. Activate your code, get back. What is the name of my radio button 1? PR1, right? What is the name of my radio button PR2? But if I will go to my selection screen now, what is the value I'm able to see here? The value which I have passed in the text elements, selection text, right? Do you guys remember the concept of field label in our data element? Do you guys remember the concept of field label in our data element?
No, don't think so.
What was the use of field label there? The field label was defined so that any whatever name that we want to show to the our end user, it will be displayed there instead of the technical name of the field, right? Have as the
Yes.
heading. Same properties here also in the text, in the text symbols, in the text selection text, whatever the name you are giving for all your parameters and select options that you are going to give, it will be visible to the end user instead of their technical names. So now you are no longer required to give a meaningful name over here. In the technical perspective, you can write the logic in the same way, but your user is going to see it differently, right?
Mm-hmm.
So this is for radio buttons. Another property we have, we can create checkboxes. Checkboxes using uh, parameters. You can create checkboxes. So checkboxes, we can select multiple checkboxes. This is the usual property. So parameters. Let's say I'm giving its name as PCHK1 type, or sorry, edge checkbox. PCHK2. Let's change its name from text element. So selection text. I'm changing its name as checkbox 1. I'm giving its name here as checkbox 2. So checkbox 2, activate it, get back, execute it. This here. Checkboxes, guys. We can write logic based on the checkboxes. We can write logic. If you are selecting the checkbox, by default PCHK1 will become true. And in ABAP, true means X, right? X is the meaning of true here. Or ABAP underscore true. Same value. X is the value for true here. So we can write logic based on the radio button and checkboxes or the parameters that we are going to create. Parameters are used to take single input from the user. Now select options. What is select option? So select options are used to pass the range of inputs, pass the inputs, range of inputs. That is, here let's say I'm giving a number 105 as input, but now here what I can give a range of input that is, let's say 101 to 107 in form of a range now. Okay. Here we can only pass a single input. Let's say I'm passing some name here, but using a select option we can pass range of values. So if you want to perform only operation on a single value, then we go for parameters. But if you want to pass range of inputs, then we go for our select option. Very, very important. Now the question is, how will I create a select option? How am I going to create it? So just focus on this, guys. We will always need a variable for defining a select option. We will need a variable for it. So for whatever column, whatever field that you are going to create a select option, first create a variable for it. How do we define a variable? By using data keyword. So LV Let's say I'm defining a variable for my employee ID. So I am giving its value here as the data element, and this is my variable name. Very, very simple. Now what we will do, we are going to use this variable to create our select option. So select options. This is how your select options is defined, colon. S employee ID. S is used here. S is most preferred here as compared to parameter. You can see P I was using for parameters. P I was using for parameter, but for my select option, I am using S employee ID for here for your variable name. For your variable name. Okay, is this thing clear?
Yes.
Is
Mm-hmm.
this thing clear? Now just go and check it. How does it is looking? This is your select option. Range of input. Range of input. Also, it is providing here a multiple selection option. You can directly pass here single input. Let's say I'm passing 103. I'll click on execute and say here. By default, data will only go for the single one also. So if you are not passing any value here, if you are not passing any value, go for this one 103, execute. Can you see 103 is automatic coming? It select option provide a lot of features. You can pass direct ranges from here, or if you don't, if let's say you are passing a range from 101 to 107, but you don't want your data should execute for 103 value, so you can also pass excluded single values. Similarly, you can pass exclude ranges. The beauty of select option, guys, very beautiful in nature. Very beautiful in nature. So let's change it name. So select option. Let's say I'm passing here range of employee ID. Range for employee ID. Activate, get back, execute, and see. Now it is looking perfectly fine. Okay. This is for
Mm-hmm.
interval or multiple selection. We can also change our feature of our select option as we have seen for our parameter also. Here we can also make it obligatory and kind of thing. Or I can go for, let's say, no intervals. Just see how it is going to happen. Now I'm passing no interval, execute. Can you see my another range is missing, right? Only single field is coming. You don't, if you don't want this extension, you can also remove it from here. No extension, no extension. Yeah, this one. Execute. Just see. Now it has become similar to your parameter, right? Similar to your parameter, is it?
Mm-hmm.
So
Yes.
it's just a way of writing logic. Just way of writing logic. We can perform anything. Totally, it depends on the developer how they are developing their logic. Then you can perform anything. Parameter, guys, and select option. Then next thing. Is this thing clear or any doubt we have?
It's
Oh,
clear.
this is clear.
Okay, perfect. So also we can do some designing. We can do some designing of our select option of our selection screen. We can do some designing of our selection screen. So what we can do is that instead of directly showing them like this way, we can store them in a particular box so that they can look some more beautiful. But here we can do, let me just show what else can we do here, that we can create a block for them. So for selection screen we can define a block also. For selection screen we can define begin of block. Let's say I'm giving its name B1 for my block. Also, we can give here frame title and with frame. I can give here frame also. So selection screen and of block B1 and of block B1. Just check for syntax. No error. Okay. Now let's just copy this entire parameter section and select option and paste it inside it. Let's see how it is going to look like now. Go for pretty printer. Go for execute. Can you see? Can you see? Everything is coming in a particular frame, right? In a frame. You might have seen this screen on some other transaction code while using. This is how your SAP has designed it. This is how your SAP has designed it. Is this thing clear, guys? How we can design our selection screen, right? Also, let's
Yes.
say I want to display a title for it, that this selection screen for some purpose. So what I can do with frame title text, and I can give some element name, let's say 002, and I will go for my text element, go to text element, and for 002 I'm going to write something, let's say hello, today I will master ABAP, this thing. So let's see if it is getting displayed or not. For 002, the same thing I'm using here. Go for execute, just see it, right? This is how everything is happening here. Okay, will now we
Mhm.
be everyone will be able to design your selection screen, right? This is just for fun, guys. Okay, this is just for
Yes.
fun how we can play with the map. Now we have got this select option, so we have got different part of it, parts of select options. So if you want to see, what you can do here is just put here some breakpoint. It will be then more easy for us to understand. Go for execute, and let's pass some input here for select option 105, let's say 106. I'm going for execute button. We are inside the debugging mode. Now double click on select option. Sorry, double click on S employee ID, which is select option. Just see here, we are getting two variables, right? Two variables, and one is with brackets, another is without brackets, right? Think on that. What is the difference between these two? Think on that. Just read this thing and tell me, what do you think? What is the difference between them?
And one is a single value and the other one is an array.
Array is not a good word if you go for ABAP, right? Here we mostly prefer table. Okay.
Mhm.
So I know this is why you are telling, because this is how we store it in case of our JavaScript and for Python also. I know it. Okay.
So
But
just one question,
yeah,
Amit. In this table variable, it says 1 times 4. So I know there's one record and 4 columns in this table for right now, but
yes,
I'm
yes,
not sure
yes.
what.
I am just going to explain this thing. Just think on that. We have got select option, right? But how it is behaving? It is behaving in two different ways, right? The beauty of select option, guys, it is a internal table. Select option, let me just write, select option is an internal table with header line. Internal table with header line. So it is also a type of internal table, but it will become completely confusing if we are going to use it. Okay, but again, select option is based on this. That is why I wanted to explain it here. So in case of your internal table with header line, what you are going to see is it will work for as work area and internal table both. Only the difference is if you are going to use it as an internal table, you will have to use bracket also. But if you are going to use it as only a work area, you can directly use it. Now if we will double click on that, can you see we have got four components or four fields of it: sign, option, low, high. What is the value of your employee ID that you had given from the selection screen? 101 to 106. This is the range, right? This is the range we had given at the runtime. Sorry, at the selection screen.
Mhm.
Is it? Now just see this one. Double click on this internal table. So select option behaves in both way, as a work area, as an internal table in both way, and it have got four fields or four option. So there are select option has four components or four columns. A select options has four columns. Never ever use the concept of internal table with header line or you will be completely confused. Only if you are playing or using select options at some place, then for knowledge we are going to use it. Otherwise, this is highly risky. It can completely change your entire code. Never ever go for it. This will be my suggestion. Otherwise, you can do anything. You are going to be a developer. So a select option as for component sign. The value of sign can be I or E, that is include or exclude. Include or exclude. Then B, option. So option here is a relational operator. Relational operator. Optional here is a relational operator and its value can be EQ for equal to, BT for between, LT for less than, and let's say GT for greater than, etc. Its value can be this thing. Then C, low. Low will be low value for the range, and high. So it will be high value of your field. Okay, high value. Now just see here, how do I know that its value can be EQ or its value can be EQ or between, or it can be exclude or include? How do I know it? Let me just show you guys. If you go to your selection screen again, here you can pass the value. Let's say I am passing single value 104 and I am excluding a value 103. So 104 I am passing single and 103 I am excluding. Now I'll go for execute, click on execute button. I'll go for debugging. I will cover double click on select option. Can you see here three rows? Can you see here three rows in the internal table?
Yes.
One is for the direct input that we have given from the selection screen, which is 101 and 106. The second row is equal to value for 104 and its sign is I for include, and the third one is for exclude. So your row is going to execute for, your code is going to for execute for this much, but it will exclude this value also. Okay, it will exclude this particular value also. Is there any doubt?
No.
No,
Cool.
no,
Just
no
one
doubt.
question.
Yes,
Sorry,
yes,
just one
please.
question. On these attributes field, it says that it has the number 18 there. I'm not really sure what it means.
uh,
The 18 in round brackets a bit up. Yes, here.
Just to go for 3 4. Oh, I don't know also where is it.
Okay.
Okay, not like that. We will have to check. Okay, let's just remove it. Let me just bring only one thing. Let's change its value. Let's find it. I'm removing one. Let's see how much its value is going to come. 18. Okay, why 18? 3 3 6 2 8 and 1 9. Oh, no, 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 9 to 18. Not like this way, but there must be some meaning for it. I will check for it. Okay, no issue. I'll check for it. This is
Thanks.
our select option. Okay. Now I know how I'm going to take input from the user, right? I know how I'm going to take input. Then I know should perform the logic part also, right? Then I should perform the logic part. Based on the input, I should perform the logic part also now.